Hey guys, my name is Emma and today I'm doing the Bookish boxes and Buzzwords tag. So I was tagged by Amy Gets Lit, who has an absolutely amazing channel where she goes into some really cool detail about loads of very interesting books. I will link hers down below. Her tag for this as well is really interesting, so I'll link that down below as well. I've also seen this done by a Book Olive, and that was where I originally wanted to do it from before Amy even tagged me. So I'll link Book Olive's one down below too. Basically, this is a tag that looks at your reading tastes in general and tries to give you some questions that will outline a bit easier what your reading tastes are, which is always interesting because I really don't know how to define my reading taste most of the time, so this will be good fun. Okay, so question number one is your go-to genre or favourite type of book. God, I suck at these kind of questions. I'm actually going to have to go for non-fiction because I think that it's one where I tend to consistently like the books a lot more than when I read fiction. Fiction I think is a lot more hit and miss for me, whereas generally when I pick non-fiction I pick ones that I really enjoy for the most part. Within the non-fiction genre itself, because obviously that's an absolutely huge bracket, I would go for the ones that kind of pick a very specific topic and really hone in on it, and then do chuck in a little bit of biographical detail about somebody who was linked with that in the past. So some of my favourites have been like ones about the history of board games, the history of kind of a history of medicine. I really enjoyed I've got an autobiography of a guy who was in the porn industry. That one's fantastic. Soccernomics, looking at the economics behind soccer, that's wonderful, or football shall we say. So yeah, that style of book. Wow, that was a long answer. Question two is, what retellings are you drawn to? I generally like most retellings. I've always been drawn to the fairy tale ones. I quite like the ones about Greek or Roman mythology, but I think at the moment I'm really drawn to retellings of classics. So I might even do a video soon of some of my favourite retellings of classics, because I definitely think I've been reading more of them recently. So things where, you know, people retell like Dracula or Frankenstein or anything like that. Okay, is lifestyles or careers of the book characters. I don't even think that there is a recurring theme in that as such. I like history of medicine, so by default there's a fair amount of like books from doctors or that point of view, so I guess the medical community. In my fiction itself, I would say probably read a lot of ones where people are freelancers or artists in some way. I'm definitely drawn to stories about the performing arts in general, but I wouldn't say I'm too narrowed down. But whatever it is, I like that to be represented really well. So if you're going to make a point of including somebody's career in the book, then I want that career to function as a decent part of the story and to also represent what it is like to work in that industry well. I don't like it when just kind of things are chucked in throwaway. I want there to be like work behind that. Question four is places or settings you are drawn to. I tend to read a lot of books set in Russia that I've noticed. I like a lot of books set in London. We love London. It's a big place in my heart. I've read a lot of books set in Italy. Again, I really love Italy, and specifically kind of more of the northern Italian areas. So yeah, probably that. And I don't know if it counts as a place or a setting, but I really like it when books take our world and then change like one or two things about it and then kind of almost war game that scenario. It's that kind of speculative fiction idea. Question five is relationships you enjoy reading about. One that I don't like reading about is I don't like reading family sagas. Ugh, just give me anything but that. Generally the whole slow burn relationship is one that I really enjoy. I enjoy people being like thrown together because of some kind of other dramatic thing going on, and then they have to deal with that, which is quite a common way that like fantasy deals with throwing people together. That's a common trope, like our two main characters meet in some chance encounter where one of them is being chased by something and then they both have to escape. I live that. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'd say probably that's about it really. I like it when characters don't really have a predefined relationship before the book and then the book kind of explores that initial meeting. I'm not a huge fan of like pre-established ones and then we're exploring that afterwards. Question six is buzzwords in the title of the book. Again, I don't think I have one particularly. There was a phase where I was reading books that started with the quite a lot, so it was the something. Like that I had a month where that seemed to be all I read. And when I was picking books for Andy to read off my shelf, they were all weirdly ones with numbers in the title. There was like Station 11, Catch 22, Child 44. They were all also multiples of 11, which was not my intention. If I had a book with 33 in it, that would have been amazing. Having a quick scan of my shelves, no, there is nothing that jumps out at all. So I'm going to go with the, and that's about it really. Question 7 is things on book covers that draw you in. I'm a magpie. You make your book shiny, I'm going to buy that shit. Like, I am so on board with shiny. I don't like people's faces on covers, particularly. I am now becoming a bit more skeptical of the like really flowery, intricate, almost filigree style design, just because I've read a few of those and been burned a bit before. And I generally quite like minimalist, but either go completely overboard and make it the most extravagant, ridiculous thing you've ever seen, or go super minimalist. That's my happy spot. I'm not interested in like people being drawn on covers, the contemporary style where they'll have like a really sort of almost watercolory or cartoonized person on it. Yeah, I'm not reading that. Yeah, probably that. I don't know if that helps at all. Question 8 is non-fiction buzzwords, type of non-fiction you're drawn to. I've kind of already covered this because it is the one that I'm drawn to the most, so we're going to ignore that one. Question 9 is medical or physical conditions of characters. I don't feel comfortable answering that question in the tone that I think it is meant to be answered in. What I will say is I like reading about people who have performed fairly epic physical feats, so people who've had very intense training regimes for whatever reason. That I do quite like and find quite interesting. That's all I'm going to say on that topic. Question 10 is time of year or time of history or future that you are drawn to. I've kind of already discussed the speculative fiction idea. I do quite like books that are sci-fi and set in the future. I'm more interested in ones that are set in kind of the like close to immediate future, to kind of again war game what would happen when we hit that technological advancement, rather than ones that go like, it's the year 3000. Not much has changed, but we live underwater. Anyway, historically speaking, I like Second World War. Like, a book Olive really hates it apparently, and that kind of hurt me a little bit. I was like, oh no, Second World War is fun. I like things set in the Blitz London. I know it's an oversaturated genre, but I haven't personally read my fill of those yet. I like things set in kind of medieval times. I'm very keen for that. Time of year I'm not fussy about particularly. I don't think I've noticed any real sense there, but I definitely like historical fiction, and whilst I've read probably the most set in like Second World War, First World War era, I'd like to go back a bit further and read some more from then. Bonus question number 1 is that, are there any other bookish boxes or buzzwords not already mentioned? Generally, if the book is on something really quirky and weird and kind of like really hones in on that, whether it be in a non-fiction or a fiction sense, I'm quite on board with that. So one of my favourite books from last year was The Bees, which is just like playing out what it would be like to be in the head of a bee and what living in the hive is like, and I was so there for that. I like it when an author picks one idea and then runs with it as far as they can, and I much prefer that to like an author has 7 ideas that they try and do maybe like a third of in the book. Like, I'd much rather that they strip it back, and the premise is like, one really key concept that they're just running with, rather than jamming in as many things as they can. And I like that across the board. I really like that sort of, what if we did this? Go! Rather than like, what if we did this and this and this and this and this and this? And it becomes really chaotic. Bonus question number 2 is, what bookish boxes or buzzwords turn you away from the book? Anytime that the book has the girl or the wife of, unless the blurb of it can win me over, not here for that. I don't read contemporary. Our world's really boring. Why would I want to read more about that? The only way that I'm going to be down with that is if it's in a non-fiction context. Like, most contemporaries are really about the relationships between the characters, and I'm more of a plot-driven girl, so I don't tend to read many contemporaries. I don't really like your crazy high fantasy, high sci-fi stuff at the moment, just because most of the stuff that I've read has been written by men who can't write women very well. So a lot of what I've seen is very male gazy, and I find that in like the horror genre too. But this is coming from somebody who hasn't read a crazy amount in either of those genres, and I'd like to find the kind of little niche that I enjoy, because I know I do enjoy many of the elements of it. and I hate it when a book has a magic system that they haven't thought through properly. Like, your plot can suck if your magic system's good. If you're going for magical realism or high fantasy, put your work into your magic system, make your world building really good. Don't really care about anything else, to be honest. I'm quite content with that. Yeah, I think that's it, really. I don't know if that helps narrow down my reading for you at all. If you agree with any of these, then do let me know. What I'd say is I definitely noticed that I'm wildly inconsistent with my reading tastes. A book will have a feature that will really piss me off, but then that exact same feature can be in another book and I'll absolutely love it. And it just depends on the writer, the other things at play, what I was expecting when I walked into it. Like, I've given up trying to understand my own reading taste because I'm fickle. I'm a fickle human being who likes a lot of things but then will also dislike them at the drop of a hat. And that's me. So that's it. I tag everybody. No, let's tag some specific people. I'm gonna tag Ink Not Blood. I can't remember your actual name. Why don't I know anybody's actual names? Why do I only know your screen names? I'm the worst. So yep, I'm going to tag you. I'm also going to tag Scott from A Book Invasion. I have you on Twitter, so I know your actual name. And I am also going to tag Read All Over. Your tag too. There we go. So everybody else is obviously welcome to join in if you want to too, but I'm tagging you guys specifically to join in. That's it from me. Have a wonderful reading week and I'll chat to you soon. Bye guys.